Dear students, this is the third part of Joseph Addison's essay Meditations in Westminster Abbey. But to return to our subject, I have left the repository of our English kings for the contemplation of another day. Repository is a place of rest, means the graveyard where the English kings have been buried. He will discuss their tombstones, their monuments, their memorials for some other day, not today. When I shall find my mind dispensed for so serious an amusement. So, definitely commenting on the monuments of the English kings will be not simple, and therefore he reserves it for some other day. I know that entertainments of this nature are apt to raise dark and dismal thoughts in timorous minds. So he says that he is well aware that this type of meditation may give rise to the ideas which may make one sad, unhappy, or melancholy. But for my own part, though I am always serious, the writer says that he is always serious, I do not know what is to be melancholy. But he doesn't know. He is never melancholy. So being serious is one thing and being melancholy is another thing, and can therefore take a view of nature in her deep and solemn scenes. So he says, I am not affected by this type of melancholy, and so I can describe or discuss these serious issues with the same pleasure as in her most gay and delightful ones. So I can discuss or analyze the delightful and the happy, the cheerful moments of life. At the same time, I can discuss with great pleasure things like the monuments on the graves. But this means I can improve myself with those objects which others consider with terror. So he says, nobody would like to visit a graveyard, but he can say, he says that he can consider these things with normal feelings. When I look upon the tombs of the great, every emotion of envy dies in me. Very often we are envious of those people who are more successful than us, but he says, the emotion of envy is lost when he looks upon the tombs of the great people, because probably the inscription on their tombs do not do sufficient justice to the dead people, and therefore he doesn't feel envious of the great people. When I read the epitaphs of the beautiful, every envy dies in me. Maybe he is not good looking, but then the emotion of envy dies, because the beautiful people, the great people, everybody has to go to the grave at the end of his life. When I read the epitaphs of the beautiful, every inordinate desire goes out. So any excessive emotion that may be associated with beauty, that also goes away, that also disappears. When I meet with grief of parents upon a tombstone, my heart melts with compassion. So when he reads the inscription on the tombstone of a child, naturally he is saddened. When I see kings lying by those who depose them, so sometimes two people may be fighting with each other in all their lives, but then when they are dead, they are buried in the graveyard, in the same graveyard, and therefore they share the same earth. But the writer says that this is the vanity of our struggles in life. when I consider uh, rival wits placed side by side, or the holy men that divided the world with their contests and disputes, I I reflect with sorrow and astonishment on the little competitions, factions, and debates of mankind. So, all type of people who have been fighting or competing with each other, but all these people have to go to the graveyard, and death is the reality, and therefore we must be balanced in our attitude. When I read the several dates of the tombs of some that died yesterday or some 600 years ago, I consider that great day when we shall all of us be contemporaries and make our appearance together. Another thing is that when he reads the different dates on the tombstones, there may be people who may have died only a few days ago, there may be people who died 10 years ago, or there may be people who died centuries ago, but in times to come, say after 5,000 years, if these graves are discovered, they all will be called contemporaries, means living in the same time. So we have a relation to the time also, that death is inevitable, death has come to every generation of people, and therefore we are not immune to death. And the concluding remark of this essay would be, first of all, that we keep on fighting different different fights we keep on fighting in our lives, but when we are dead, and when our dead body is laid by the side of our rival, our opposite person, then that struggle becomes meaningless. And so, while we are fighting with somebody, we must be thinking that okay, one day we have to go to grave, and once we die, all these struggles will be futile, they would be meaningless. And the second thing is that the relatives of the dead people should be careful in writing the inscriptions. They should not be extravagant. They should be just, and they should do justice to the justice to the dead people, so that people don't laugh on the dead people. And that is the end of it. Thank you, friends.